Welcome to my NFL Quick Picks. My name is Fletcher, and what better time to jump in and start picking games than the very last week where half these games don't even matter. My goal is to give some wildly average picks and cross my fingers and hope something comes true, so I can brag about it to my dog. He's not very bright, but he tries. So first game we have the Atlanta Falcons versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Matt Ryan has been throwing the ball like he's got some anger issues with over 4,500 yards and has done shit all for the Falcons' 6-9 record. The Buccaneers are technically ranked number 1 in passing in the league, which has done even less for them with a 5-9 record. With that said, the Falcons will win in Tampa, and my stupid bold prediction is we'll see 900 passing yards between the two and 8 passing touchdowns in total. Next up, we have Dallas Cowboys and the New York Giants. The Cowboys have pulled their finger out of their ass to make the second half of the season interesting. What with the Redskins and what seems like their 50th quarterback, the Eagles fucking around for half the season, and the new demigod Saquon Barkley suffering from the muffled fart season that is the rest of the Giants. I see the Giants pulling an upset just because fuck it. Next up, we have the Carolina Panthers and the New Orleans Saints. So a 6-2 team walked into Pittsburgh and shits themselves so thoroughly that they decided to tank the rest of the whole season. The Carolina Panthers injury list is more impressive than their last 7 games, and the Saints are the Saints and they're playing at home. So ultimately, Saints win. It's like having to put down a dying animal at this stage. We move on to the New York Jets at the New England Patriots. Now, I've been playing NFL Fantasy for 8 years and I finally got Gronk. What a fucking waste of a year to have him on fantasy. Side note, I still won, but that's beside the point. The Patriots have played terrible compared to years past and tanked 5 games this year. But still, thanks to the rest of the AFC shitting the bed, they've managed to stay in the second seed. What stands in their way is the sensational Sam Darnold that still can't quite get there. I honestly think it'll be a close game, but yeah, nah, the Patriots win. Jacksonville Jaguars and the Houston Texans are up next. Jaguars, man, what happened this year? You went from being the chosen one to the butt end of a meme avalanche. They travelled to the Texans' home to potentially fuck up the Texans' stellar season and dropped them as low as the number 6 seed, if things all fall into place. For the sake of inducing chaos, I'm picking the Jags to beat the Texans, who are carrying a lot of injuries and have lost 2 of their last 3 games. Moving on to Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Packers. Doesn't it feel weird that the last time we saw Aaron Rodgers in the postseason, he was getting his shit pushed in by the Falcons 3 seasons ago? After pulling off the unthinkable win against the Jets last week, I feel that they will steamroll the Lions, who benched Matthew Stafford last week. Both teams are playing for pride at this stage, but the Lions could tank it and get a better pick next year, so we'll see what happens. Rounding out the earlier games, we had the Miami Dolphins at the Buffalo Bills. This game will involve no logic whatsoever. Both teams have actually looked like a professional football team some days, and downright tragic for the next few games. Trust the Dolphins to waste a Miami miracle and put it in a pedestrian effort against the Jags. Continuing with my chaos, I'm picking the Bills to walk away with the win, even though Josh Allen has some serious work to do. The next wave of games starts with Arizona Cardinals versus the Seattle Seahawks. I could say so much about both teams here, but Seahawks win, hands down, without a doubt. They will absolutely murder the Cardinals. I like the Cardinals, I really do, but holy shit, you guys have earned that number 1 pick. The Browns lost every game last year and they still put up more of a fight than you did this year. Next up, we had the San Francisco 49ers at the LA Rams. The Rams went from the scariest force known to man to that really good team that you still don't want to play, but people still mumble under their breaths that they'd rather verse them than the Saints. The 49ers were supposed to go flawless and have a perfect season under Garoppolo, but then his knee exploded and they went back to the basement. Don't get me wrong though, Kittle and Nick Mullins have been a force as of late, but I don't see them playing spoiler today. The LA Chargers are going to the Denver Broncos. The last time they met the Broncos had turned up the gas and were making some noise. They stole the win from the Chargers right at the end of the game. Now they want to fire everyone, and Lindsay, their saving grace, has had surgery on his hand, so that's fucked. They also lost to the Raiders and are eliminated from the playoff race. Chargers will step all over them, but not before Chubb breaks the record for rookie sacks and hopefully ruins Rivers' sack, so that he can leave his damn wife alone after she has given birth to his 9th child. Moving on to the Philadelphia Eagles and the Washington Redskins. Big Dick Nick is back in business. The unlikely Super Bowl MVP from last year is going to march into the Redskins' home and take a giant shit on what's left of their season. Halfway through the season, I would have said Alex Smith has taken the Skins to the division title, but after approximately 5,000 injuries, give or take a few, they're a broken shell of a team. I hope you guys come back strong next year, but until then, Eagles win. Moving to the north, we have the Cincinnati Bengals at the Pittsburgh Steelers. I knew it. I fucking knew it. The second I saw Antonio Brown was on the cover of Madden, I knew the Steelers done fucked up. While he himself has had a decent year with 15 touchdowns so far, the team as a whole has probably been the biggest disappointment in terms of teams that are stacked. They need to win this to even have a chance at the postseason, but even with the Bengals being no threat, they love to make terrible teams look like gods. I say the Steelers win in overtime to an unlikely hero being Boswell, considering he's had such a terrible year, but at this stage of the season, it could go either way. Staying in the north, but for the NFC this time we have the Chicago Bears at the Minnesota Vikings. I would not have believed you if you said that the Vikings would have gotten worse by signing Kirk Cousins, but here we are. fighting for the very last seed against the stupidly hung Bears defense from the north. The Bears could get the second seed if Nick Mullins puts in some cheat codes, so they will be out there to make a statement that the north deserves to be Bears territory. Bears win, Vikings go home for the winter. We have the Oakland Raiders at the Kansas City Chiefs next. Chiefs win. I know they haven't been the same since they fired Hunt, but fuck me, the cannon Mahomes will rip shit through the Raiders' rebuild in progress team. Mahomes only has to throw 8 touchdowns to break Peyton Manning's record of 55, which sounds impossible and has never been done before, but fuck it, prove us wrong, Patrick. The Cleveland Browns and the Baltimore Ravens are up next. Who would have thought how juicy this game was going to be? The Ravens win and they're in, and they eliminate the Steelers in one go. Jackson has been a game changer for the Ravens and has taken Flacco's spot as the starter until further notice. The Ravens defense is ridiculous. These guys are probably the scariest team in the AFC hands down. I don't see anyone beating them in the postseason, and even being a Steelers fan myself, I can see these guys taking out the Super Bowl. In saying that, they better be ready for the machine that is Baker Mayfield. If they are looking past the Browns as the easy win, it could cost them not just the game, but a trip to the postseason. I ultimately see this game going to the Ravens, maybe in overtime, because you just can't go past Justin Tucker, who has bailed the Ravens out so many times over the years. So that brings us to the final match of Week 16, which is the Indianapolis Colts at the Tennessee Titans. This game could be one for the ages. A division game with the winner going to the postseason and the loser getting nothing but a mid-round pick. Andrew Luck low-key has been an MVP candidate in my eyes and is leading a solid all-round team. The Titans have a late season monster that is Derrick Henry on their side, but a busted quarterback in Mariota to back him up. I've thoroughly enjoyed watching Derrick Henry trampling the competition like it's Black Friday. If Mariota can keep his arm from falling off, then they have a very good shot at the Colts. I'm going to say Andrew Luck repeats his magic from the Giants win last week and sends the Titans home this week in a butt clencher. So that's my wildly average game picks with a bit of chaos peppered through it. This has been a fantastic season full of surprises with more injuries than missed kicks this season, which is saying something for the shit show that has been the NFL kickers as a whole. Join me next week for playoff predictions and laughing at how terrible this week's guesses have turned out. This is Fletcher and you are watching a Sports in General video.